Welcome back to Box Office Breakdown, and of course we're going to be talking about the numbers, but this week we're going to talk more about Batman vs. Superman and our favorite place, China. So get ready.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Box Office Breakdown.
Hello. So I'm here, Sara Stretton, and I'm joined by JTE.
Look at this.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know either.
We're missing Tom this week. We have Steven in the booth. He's going to be our... You can't take full Tom mode.
Oh, look at that. I didn't know. You got cameras in there too? Damn.
I got cameras in Max for
That's
days.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
You got WrestleMania going on behind you?
Yeah.
What a day.
No,
I'll just let people watch that in the background the whole time.
Well, this is what I'm talking about, because today we are going to talk all about this past weekend, what movies are doing, but it's going to go into a lot of Batman vs. Superman talk, and then we're going to get into more China news, which of course is
China.
Tom's...
How can you not be here for China?
He's like the anti-hero.
He's not the hero they deserve, but it's the hero they need. That's the only way I can put it.
That's his label?
He's the Batman in our Trinity. I'm Superman. You're Wonder Woman.
Are we sticking with this?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so
I be the annoying guy called Lex.
You're Alfred. You're behind the controls,
God,
man.
I get to be Alfred.
You're behind the controls while Batman's out kicking ass.
I think would you rather be Alfred or Lex?
I mean, honestly, if you're going from that movie, I'd say I'd rather be Alfred. If you're going from in general, I mean, Lex is kind of a badass.
Yeah,
from,
Lex is
the
badass.
Cartoons.
Eisenberg, not so much.
Interesting. Yeah, we can get into that. I finally saw it.
Yes, Sarah saw it.
I'm up to date now. I feel like I can actually communicate with the world.
We give you your... I gave you my overall opinion. Let's just,
my overall? Without spoilers?
We're not spoiling, just
it's still,
overall.
When is it, fine for spoilers?
I think, until it's about to come on Blu-ray.
Really?
I think a couple weeks. The thing is, it's hard because, people in other countries, although it came out everywhere. I don't know. I say we stay away from spoilers.
I know, but there has to be a line somewhere. Can I give spoilers away in
anything that's in the trailer is not a spoiler.
There you go.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try and not give away any spoilers in my review. Definitely, the Rotten Tomatoes score is undeserved. I think it's better than people are giving it credit for. Is it my favorite superhero movie? No.
I think you'll
Is
find...
it my favorite Batman movie? No. Is it my favorite Superman movie? No.
Is it your favorite Batman? As far as character portrayal.
I did really like Ben Affleck in
good.
it.
It's the one thing everyone's taking away from this movie. If they don't like it, at least they like Batman.
That's true. If I'm thinking about it and I propel myself 10 years in the future, am I going to choose Ben Affleck as my favorite Batman?
I guess jury's still out. We got to wait for some more movies. Because
but there's a chance.
There's a chance.
There's a big chance.
It's weird because we didn't get a full Batman movie. We got Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
They split the time pretty evenly, although I will say Batman got a little bit more of the screen time. It's I saw a really good preview of what Batman could be. I'm waiting for that one solo movie, which Affleck more than likely will direct.
I think if the Dark Knight trilogy had never happened, people would be so excited for the Ben Affleck solo movie. Right now, I think they're kind of on the fence, but I think overall, it's going to be great.
But even with that trilogy that has happened, I still think that if we see a little bit more of Ben Affleck and he's kind of stays consistent or grows or what he's already developed for that character, he could be my favorite Batman.
He could. It's funny because Michael Keaton, there were times where he was Batman. I was like, that's Batman. But then when he was out of the suit, I was like, oh, it's more of a Michael Keaton than Bruce Wayne. And then Bale, I thought was pretty good in the suit and pretty good as Bruce Wayne, but I didn't love one or the other extremely. Whereas this one, I'm he's pretty badass when he's out of suit, and he's pretty badass when he's in the suit.
I know, but let me ask you: Are you if they were gonna make the sequel to Dark Knight Rises with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Nightwing?
Yeah.
Would you be more excited about that or the solo movie with Affleck?
I'd be more excited for a solo film with Affleck.
Yeah, I like where this world is leading to.
Yeah.
And there is that, I've said it before, I'm a big fan of Wonder Woman. I like this DC universe that is being built. Was this my favorite movie? No. But it wasn't as horrible as people were saying. Definitely would have given it higher numbers from me. And We'll see. It's up in the air.
Look at Marvel when they first tried to make the cinematic universe. We got the Hulk, which was just like a stinking pile of crap.
Wait, you talking about the Incredible Hulk with?
I'm talking
Edward
about the
Norton?
very first one.
Oh,
the first one.
Okay,
because
gotcha.
they were still like thinking about it. Like,
yeah.
This is their first foray into, hey, this is the DCCU. Come join us. You know what? They're allowed to have a mishap, which wasn't even too much of a mishap, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going to really hit it out of the park with the next one.
I compare what you said, just Steven. Remember Iron Man 2? Mm-hmm. You're following a great Iron Man solo film, and half Iron Man 2 just felt like it was setting up for the Avengers. Yeah. And a lot of people complained about that. And it's not, Iron Man 2 is not a horrible movie. It's just held back by all the setup it has to do. That's exactly what this movie felt like to me.
Oh, yeah.
Good moments, good scenes, but it's held back by all the stuff it's trying to introduce in one movie. So for me, this is like the Iron Man 2. If we got that out of the way, hopefully the rest is just hopefully great.
It made me really worry for Suicide Squad, though, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm just like, you have these two strong characters, and then the story, like, everyone already knows Batman, everyone already knows Superman, so they don't need to elaborate on anything. They can just make a great story. Then you got Suicide Squad. Nobody really knows these characters, so, I'm worried that they're going to try to go too origin on it.
It's going to be interesting for us to talk about. It's going to be interesting for us to see all these movies, and it's going to be very interesting to see how much money all of these movies make. So let's get into this weekend's box office numbers for April 1st through 3rd. We're starting with number 5, Miracles from Heaven, bringing in $7.5 million, dropping 22%.
Wow, that's small.
It's really small. If you're actually looking at, let's just go over the top 7 real quick. 10 Cloverfield Lane dropped 20%. The Divergent series Allegiant, which was awful, dropped 39.3%. Miracles for 7, as we said, 22. So these so far, smaller drops. Going up into the number 4 spot, God's Not Dead 2, bringing in $8 million out of almost like 33, out of 2,400 theaters or so. So it's up there, made the top 5 at least, unlike Meet the Blacks, which came in at number 8. Number 3 goes to My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, another sequel, $11 million, dropping 37%. Then Zootopia.
Look at this. Holy crap.
Dropping 16%.
That's
to
insane.
$20 million.
Yeah.
It is in its 5th week. That is
phenomenal.
So small. Then we have number 1, of course, taking that spot, but I don't know if we're going to be too proud of this. You got $52 million for Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, because that is a 68% drop. So
a couple things stick out to me on this list. Number 1 is I'm surprised how good Miracles from Heaven did. It almost made just as much as God Not Dead 2, a film, again, a Christian film that is going after the same target audience. It's the same target audience, really.
I'm putting that one on Jennifer Garner.
The star power?
She has this sweetheart thing about her. I think that there are a lot of people who, middle America-wise, female-wise, who are really drawn to her as an actress. I think that she's had a lot of media attention this past year.
Of course.
Because of her relationships and Ben Affleck and how she's handling that situation and whatnot. And I think most people really see her in a positive light.
Of course. I don't think anyone sees, like, when they came to that relationship, I don't think either of them came out really harmed by that whole thing. Maybe Ben Affleck, because there were some rumors with him cheating on Nanny, but even she's kind of debunked that.
No, she confirmed it.
Well, she said by the time that happened, they were already separated.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
There are more things about Sean Penn getting ghosted than anything about...
Yeah.
What about Sean Penn?
No.
Back in the day when
we
were talking about that.
not bringing up Sean Penn. No more. No. But I really do put the power this has, the legs it had so far, on Jennifer Garner. I think that she did a lot of press for this movie.
She did, yeah.
I think that despite the fact that you know exactly what's going to happen, people still wanted to see it.
Yeah,
Did you guys see either of these two movies?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'm interested to see which one's actually a better movie, though.
Well, God's Not Dead 2, I think the main star is the girl from Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. What's her name?
Melissa
Yeah,
Joan.
she's like the main.
What is her name?
Yeah, Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, there we go.
She's the main person in this movie. There's real no star power, so I think you have a good point there. Jennifer Garner is going to bring some people in, whereas God's Not Dead 2, that title's not great either, by the way. Can you call it God's Not Dead something?
I also think this isn't the genre I typically go out and see, but I think that you have to judge it a little bit differently. You go out, and I think that it's not what's more original or cinematically exciting. It's what probably makes you believe more or feel better.
Okay.
Like, you should probably come out of this movie. If you feel good coming out of one of these types of movies, it's probably going to do better.
Well, the plot for Miracles from Heaven is like a girl gets sick, she's going to die, she falls out of a tree, bumps her head, and is like, I'm cured. And they're like, oh, it's a miracle. God's Not Dead 2 is about a teacher who brings up Jesus in school, and it becomes like some sort of like political / like, you know, I don't even know what the word is for it, but it's just like, oh, this teacher said something in school about church, and then she goes to law to fight to be able to say that. Does that sound really exciting to you? Like, I'd rather go see about the little girl that fell out of a tree and knocked her head, and everyone says miracle. That really sounds like interesting. There's nothing in God Not Dead 2's synopsis where I'm just like, yeah, I'd like to see that on the big screen.
No, I'd rather see Humpty Dumpty as well.
Yeah, thank you, Humpty Dumpty.
No, it's about the movement it creates. It's about the message it's sending. This is what these movies are made for.
There's been so many this year, though. I feel like maybe they're getting oversaturated.
So that was the first thing that stood out to you on the list. I'm guessing that the second thing that's important is this publicity and the negative attention that this 68% drop for Batman vs Superman is getting.
Nobody is telling me to see this movie. I mean, movie theaters nowadays, like, it's really just Twitter or word of mouth. Like, everyone's telling their friends, hey, oh my God, you got to see this. I think Hardcore Harry's going to do really well because I think everyone's going to be like, whoa, check it out, just for the novelty of it. Batman vs. Superman, like, my friends are actively telling people not to see this movie.
Really? They didn't like it that much, huh?
Well, I have a friend who's a diehard DC fan. He loves Batman, loves Superman, and the day it came out, his Facebook status was, that was an utter piece of crap, and told everyone not to see it. Like, it's so weird because so many people are like, some people love it, some people completely hate it. I don't see many people like you guys in between. On like, you know what, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad.
I have a hard time people, like you said, those people that are DC hardcore fans, they're coming at a totally different perspective than when I go see the movie. I'm just a casual fan. I grew up on the cartoons. I read some of the graphic novels. Like, I don't bring all that into the theater with me. So, like, I just enjoyed it as a comic book movie that I, say it tried to do too much. Again, the word of mouth has not been great. But then there's times where I've run into people that love this movie. I've literally ran into people that told me, I love this movie. It's one of my favorite comic movies of all time.
Mike Kalinowski is like all on board.
Oh, really? See, that's why it's like this movie is so interesting to me because everyone brings something else into that theater with them.
What the press is saying, what the media is typically saying, they're very down on that. So I'm not surprised that it is getting this 68% drop because you look at the Rotten Tomato scores, they're awful. The cinema score isn't that bad.
It's a B,
every headline about the box office is like drop 68%. It's not saying, oh, it made another 52 million. It's all spun in a negative light, and it's kind of feels like it's been that way. Even last week when we're like, oh, well, it didn't hit the expectations of opening to the high end of 200.
I think the reviews are a little bit harsher than they usually would be because you have the two biggest comic book characters of all time, arguably. Like, say what you will about X-Men and all these other characters, Spider-Man. Batman and Superman are like the two godfathers of comic books.
And the publicity could just keep getting worse. I mean, as we go through this year, as we are going to inevitably compare Batman vs. Superman to Civil War to Suicide Squad with like the positive light that's kind of being shown more there.
Well, Marvel's earned that. They've earned that positive spin. DC, when you're coming out with something this big, this ambitious, they're going to be more critical right out of the gate.
Yeah, but Marvel also has the upper hand in a way that, like, okay, when I was a kid, like Iron Man, he was cool, but he wasn't like an icon.
Totally
Batman was a freaking icon. Superman was a freaking icon.
Yeah.
Marvel has created movies that, whether they are good or not, you don't have such high expectations and as many diehard fans who are just like, I will hate them if they mess up my image of this. And you're taking Batman and Superman, which, say what you want about how popular Marvel is, Batman and Superman are just completely, like, they're worldly icons. No, you will be hard pressed to find anyone who has internet who doesn't know who Batman and Superman are.
Yeah.
And a whole thing is Batman doesn't use guns. Batman doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
Superman is like all powerful, but then he's struggling to lift up an oil tanker, and Batman is now killing people. Like, it's just kind of like, you know what, the
There's
expectations
some
are
departures from
so high.
character.
Here's the thing, though. After watching Man of Steel, it was basically that was Zack Snyder saying, forget everything you read, forget everything you watched. I'm doing my own thing with this. So I went in with that same headspace, Batman Superman. I didn't expect, I knew they were going to go different. I was expecting a totally different Batman that I've seen before, a totally different Superman. So I was expecting that because I saw Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel really gave you an idea. This is what we're not beholden to anything that came before.
JTE though, you're a movie guy.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a movie guy. Sarah's a movie girl. Like, we know who Zack Snyder is. Like, when we look at a director, we can look at his filmography and be like, we know what to expect. The majority of America see Batman versus Superman, like they see the trailers, and that's all they're expecting going in. You probably have half the audience hasn't even seen Man of Steel going into this movie.
Oh, that's a shame. Because this movie, I feel like if you didn't see Man of Steel, you're missing out on a lot of the themes that this movie is going for, especially the opening. The opening, I will say, I love the opening of this movie. Because you're seeing you're seeing the finale of Man of Steel through Bruce Wayne's eyes.
And they're actually like owning up to the fact that there was so much destruction.
To the point where they go out of their way in this movie to say, oh, there's nobody here. Did you notice that? Like 3 times they're like,
yes.
Oh, the work hours are...
I don't know if we can get too much into that.
Okay.
We're entering spoiler territory, so I'm going to try and put that fence up and stop that. But I think that what we can agree on, or what the numbers are saying, is that it's not doing fantastically. Well, the media or reviews or something has hit it.
I mean, I think what Josh is saying, though, is that it is doing still pretty well.
It's going to make $1 billion worldwide.
I mean,
it dropped 68%, but it's still making $52 million on a weekend. Like,
with a $250 million budget, not including P&A.
True.
So you're talking about a domestic gross right now that's at 260 on a 250 budget, and not including P&A. What do you have to
better than Waterworld.
That's true. But what do you have to get to for it to be successful?
They're saying they want to get to $1 billion. And I think it's over 700 million worldwide right now.
And people thought that it was going to get to $1 billion, and now it's
I think it's gonna get there, but I mean it's gonna get 900 plus at least.
I mean, what do you think this movie's gonna hit next weekend? Like, if it's dropping 68 to 52, do you think it's gonna go down to below 20, or do you think it'll stay around 30?
Well, I think one of the things that's I think one of the reasons why a lot of people are shocked by this 68% this weekend is because it had no competition. Nothing really came out this week. So it's like, it should have done like 60. I think originally last week they were predicting 66 million because there's nothing coming out to compete with it. The fact that it still dropped off this much with no competition, this week it's going to go down to maybe, because there's really not much this week. I don't know if Hardcore Henry and the Boss are going to be able to pull in a lot of people. So honestly, I don't know. I think next week it could come in around 40 to 30. 30 to 40.
You still think it'll be that high then?
I think it can go lower than that. I think that it's not.
You think it might go down to like 20?
I think Zootopia will overtake it in the next 2 weeks.
I don't think it's going to go from 52 to 20 million. Put that way.
I don't think it's going to 20, but I could see it dropping 50%.
I think it'll still be number one next weekend.
We will see. We will see.
We'll get to that.
So this was our numbers. Zootopia's still there. Everything's, pretty mellow.
Like I said last week, Zootopia has nothing to compete with until Jungle Book.
Eye in the Sky's doing pretty good.
Huh?
Eye in the Sky's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to see now to Alan Rickman's last film and Helen Mirren. It looked interesting. It's a very small budget kind of thriller, about a drone attack. I might check it out one day.
Also, before we go to international news, since you brought up Jungle Book, reviews have started coming out.
Yes, I
if
read
you
one
want
this
to see
morning.
something on Variety, something has been written up. So if you are interested, it seems to be kind of positive.
It seems to be very positive.
We'll see how it does.
A lot of my friends who are critics are seeing it tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to hearing from them.
So we'll get more information as it comes, and hopefully will set the tone.
Let me just say, when you're showing
do.
your movie 2 weeks before it comes out, you're probably pretty confident it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Disney wouldn't be letting it out this bad.
You know if they're embargoing anything from tomorrow?
I'm sure it'll be embargoed for at least a couple. I don't know, because Variety let it out. So
Variety already let something out.
Yeah, all the family screenings are on the 7th.
So the embargo's probably lifted. Variety had one out already?
Variety already has one out unless someone broke some rules. So let's get into these international numbers.
Let's do it.
starting with Batman vs. Superman topped the foreign box office for a second consecutive weekend, racking up $85.1 million from 68 territories and pushing the superheroes film global haul to, that's right, $682.9 million. So that passes the lifetime gross of Man of Steel, which is the most recent Superman film, which had pulled in $668 million worldwide during 2013.
Well, I mean, that's good news.
Yes.
It's beat Man of Steel in 2 weeks.
There's a positive note. In second place, Disney's Zootopia captured $30 million from 52 territories, bringing its global total to $787.6 million. Yes, the film now ranks as the 12th highest grossing animated film in history. It has done particularly well in China, earning $215.3 million and nearly matching its $275.9 million domestic gross there. So that's good.
Disney's been killing it lately with their animated films.
We're just going to keep this train going. Hong Kong Chinese action film The Bodyguard snagged third place with $25 million, while Kung Fu Panda 3 took fourth place with $19.2 million. The latest Kung Fu Panda movie has generated $463.9 million since it began its rollout in January. And Chinese crime picture Chongqing, is that how you say that?
Chongqing.
Sure.
I think Hot Pot rounded out the top 5, racking in $19 million.
Wow.
So,
well, first of all, I hope The Bodyguard is a remake of the Whitney Houston movie with Kevin Costner. I don't know what that's about, but I hope to God that's what that is. And as far as Chongqing Hot Pot,
is that
your guess is as good as mine as what the hell that's about.
But this is what I want to get to, because we have been talking, we've always been talking about the Chinese box
Middle
office.
Kingdom.
Every time we've seemed to talk about them, another record seems to be broken. And we've taken that in stride. We're like, bring more of their movies here. I want to see what this monster hunt is about.
They're like the Steph Curry of countries right now.
But now, according to Daily Mail, and I think like Reuters or something, there is an article. It doesn't have a ton of information out, but the title is "Amid Ticketing Fraud, China Box Office Up 51% in First Quarter." So
what does that mean?
It's kind of unclear about how far this fraud is going, because it really only references one big instance, which is supposedly, I'll read what it says word for word.
Break this down for me.
More than 100 Chinese investors descended on the offices of one financier of the martial arts movie Ip Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
This happened on Thursday. They demanded their money back, these investors, after the film's distributor admitted to buying 56 million, it's in their currencies. What is it? What is their currency? Does anyone remember? Won?
Won.
Yeah, in tickets to bump up sales.
Oh wow!
So
56
million in their currency. I don't know what the conversion is. I think it says $1 equals about 6.4776 Chinese. So
that sounds about
56 million divided by 7.
I mean, let's say it's $9 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not.
This is what I love about China, by the way. You go on YouTube. Whenever they get pissed off about something or they feel they've been wronged, they don't go through the legal system. Even if you watch like their political debates when they're having like policy arguments on like the Senate floor, they just will straight up go out and like get in your face, get a posse or size, and just like they'll F shit up. I've seen better fights than WrestleMania in the damn Chinese Senate than I have in most like UFC fights. It's amazing.
So this is just one investor. This is really focusing on one movie, one ticket sales, and they're infuriated. But how this is reflecting, or what insight we're then going to get on all the other numbers we've been putting on, because as we've said, China's box office revenues grew 51% in the first quarter of 2016. That's crazy. Total sales of tickets in China were about, I'm just going to do the U.S. conversion, $2.24 billion in the first 3 months of the year. So boosted in total by like February, which was, I guess, boosted by Lunar New Year holiday and according to China National Radio. And despite government censorship and a limit of 34 foreign films a year, Hollywood has become increasingly reliant on China's rapidly growing box office.
Yeah, definitely.
It's obviously influencing how we make movies, our advertisements,
the last few years,
locations,
more
tons
movies
of stuff
have took place in China than the last 30 years.
Yeah, and in February, Chinese sales topped U.S. for the first time, according to this official news agency. So there's all of this stuff going on. Tons of money being spent. Our cinema is being affected by Chinese numbers. But now there's a seed of doubt. Maybe. It could just be one incident.
Let's not forget.
It could just be one thing.
I've said they were fighting in the Senate floors, but they probably don't even have a Senate because it's a communism over there.
Yeah.
So you got to bring that, the president could be like, every Sunday everyone must go see a movie. Everyone has to go see a movie. So, who knows what the kind of stuff they're doing over there. We're not in there.
No, we don't know. All we can say is what we find on the internet. And another thing we found, because we're going to talk more about China, is from Variety. The title is Anti-China Movie called 10 Years, crowned at the Hong Kong Film Festival. So not only have we been talking about Chinese numbers, but we also talked a lot about how Chinese films have made it into our international top 5 over and over again. Yep. But this is a movie that's not going to be making a ton of money in China.
What's the name of the movie?
It's called 10 Years. It's a low-budget feature, and it is a dark imagining of what Hong Kong is going to look like under Chinese rule in the next 10 years.
Interesting.
And it's supposedly made up of different shorts and not portraying
China in the best
Chinese
light?
government in the best light. It is, I guess, giving more voice to I think they're calling it a localism movement that they've been having. But this movie won an award, yet it was not shown in any of their theaters. It was shown in 40 public venues. And because it got nominated and was a nominee, the television providers, or whatever you call them, pulled the award show. So they're like, if this has been a nominee, we're not showing any of it.
I said earlier why I love China. Let me say why I love America right now. Because this will not happen in America. Film is art. It's a way to have expression, whether it be political, religious, or all that. And the fact that a government, it's one thing for them to be like, they could have actually stopped from even making the movie they wanted to, probably, if they knew what was going on, which is bullcrap. The fact that the TV channels would not even show an award show because this thing was, it's the Hong Kong award show. That's like the Oscars not showing a movie because somebody made a film about white supremacists or something.
You have to know that this actually does go on in the United States as well. It's scary because you think that, America, freedom and all that, but no, there's lots of groups that are out there trying to push down freedom of speech from a lot of different angles. It can be the simplest thing as far as the Olympics back in Britain. They did a huge commemoration to the attacks in London, and in America they played a commercial break and had an interview go on during that part of the ceremony. But even as far as movies, China's of course communist, so the government wants to keep anything anti-government down.
Oh, of course.
But
media around the world is always different. You talk to anyone, and what you watch of coverage of an incident here is completely different than if you watch it in another country.
Totally
it doesn't matter the country. You're never going to find them probably with the exact same viewpoint. It's always different. One thing that this film did say, a quote from one of the film's producers, or one of the 10 Years producers, is, "Thank you for having the courage to give us this award." So they said that's what they said on stage, because it was just a courageous movement for this film to get where it did and get the recognition it did. It didn't get spread out to the country, but it was made and it was seen, and we're talking about it, so it...
Nobody does internet better than China. Everyone knows what's going on down there. If it's not on TV, it's on a bootleg 20 minutes later, or it's being downloaded somewhere. The news spreads around there better than I think anywhere in the world.
Would you watch this 10 years?
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting just because right now we have protests because of our wage gap and everything. Yeah, China is one of the most flourishing economies in the world, and it has the hugest wage gap of anything. What is it called? Philanthropy is kind of like a taboo subject over there. So, to have a film that riles the people up, V for Vendetta style, like that's so dangerous.
I'm very interested in this movie. I would definitely see it. I just don't know how easy it's going to be to see find
their perspective on things. You know what I mean? Because it's a film made by Chinese people.
But a different area. So it's definitely interesting. If only we could hear what Tom had to say. But then we would probably get in trouble.
I'll probably get flagged.
I'll tell you right now, my goal is to one day in the history of Box Office Breakdown, let's do a live show from China.
I mean, we'll send you over there.
Yeah, can you send us?
Me and Tom will go over there. We'll get a
We'll start a Kickstarter.
Better yet, let's go to North Korea and do a live show.
So on a completely
Pyongyang Hotel.
On a completely different note, we are skipping our game this week.
No Tom, no international game.
That's our rules. He put that on us. He told us we can never do it without him. No, we are going to go on to our top 5 grossing list with Melissa McCarthy.
2 weeks in a row, I forgot to change the name on that.
Yeah, so this is Ben Affleck, and then the first one is The Hangover Part 3.
Yeah.
No, Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy. Listen, we'll get into The Boss in a little bit. You know, I think this movie's kind of important for her because she's had a few flops. Her last film did not do good. Tammy was really bad.
A lot of flops.
Yeah, and the reception for Ghostbusters, I don't think that might have hurt this movie. Just the fact that people are so riled up, they might not see this just to spite her. But we'll get to that. I think early on, especially early on in her career, she was really talented and funny. And I still think she's funny.
She still is. Yeah. I think that
oversaturation. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, definitely. It's just repeat over and over, pushing a lot of the same things.
Although Spy was good and it made a lot of money, so.
Yeah, let's start with Spy and The Hangover coming in at 4 and 5, neck and neck, 116 million each. Coming out in 2013 for Hangover Part 3, 2015 for Spy.
It was a really small role, but it was early on in her career. It was a funny little cameo. Spy, to me, we'll get to this more in a thing. She has like one director that knows how to use her better than anybody else. That's Paul Feig, and he directed Spy, and his comedy is really good. And it was so like every time she works with him, it seems to work out great. And I like the movie. The problem is Ghostbusters is him also.
The problem is,
so I kind of like torn.
You really think
you just totally changed?
I totally changed.
You just, like,
I have so many thoughts that I can't even put them all in one thing.
I mean, what we can stick with is looking at just this list, what we haven't seen so far. I'll just roll over real quick. Got after Spy, and coming in third is Identity Thief with Jason 147. Bateman. Then The Heat with 177. And then Bridesmaids with 182.
Yep. That was the breakout.
Bridesmaids, fantastic. This money up here, well deserved.
Would you really call that like a Melissa McCarthy major movie?
No, it's an ensemble.
She was kind of like what Zach was in The Hangover. She was kind of the breakout comedic star for the movie.
Yeah, but that is an ensemble movie.
For sure. And yeah, you got Kristen Wiig, who's great in it too.
But a lot of these, at least for me as a viewer, blend in together. Where like the scenes of them, I feel like I could just kind of mix and match them, and it could end up being one movie between The Spy, Identity Thief, The Heat. Like a lot of the comedy is the same. A lot of they literally blur together in
kind of like
mind.
the same character that she plays.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You kind of a no, because Bridesmaid, she's just like Zach Galifianakis' Hangover. Okay, Paul Feig, great movie. The Heat, I really dug The Heat, and I liked how she was kind of being like this badass, like Lethal Weapon kind of cop.
I was like fine with The Heat.
You're fine with it, yeah. Again, Paul Feig. Identity Thief was not good.
Yeah, I wanted to physically harm her, and it just annoyed me. Like her character just made me so angry. I mean, she did a great job in the role, but it's just that kind of character just makes me physically angry.
It was a bad script. It was the story were all replaced. It had tonal shifts where at one point it's really silly and one point it's trying to be really dramatic. So that was just a fail. And I put more of that on the director of that movie and just the script overall. And then Spy was a really fun movie. Again, out of the top 4, all 3 of the Paul Feig ones are good movies. The only one in here that's not good is Identity Thief, which the only reason why I think it made that much money is because she was coming off Bridesmaid. She was coming off The Heat.
And also in that boat is probably like Tammy. Which is
Tammy. Here's what got me worried about The Boss, because Tammy was directed by her husband, who is a comedian also, and I didn't see it. I'll be honest with you right now. I heard so many bad things, I stayed away. And The Boss is directed by him again, written by them again. So part of me is like, how did they get another chance after that first one was so bad? But The Boss, the trailers are somewhat funny. Like, I don't know.
You've got a good cast. Kristen Bell, Peter Dinklage, Kathy Bates.
I might see if I hear some good things.
Yeah, it is definitely a wait and see for me as well.
But again, I think agree with you, Steven. Like, her shtick's gotten a little tired. You kind of know what you're going to get every time.
I don't think it's her fault, though. That's the thing. Is like
you just have to know how to use it.
I think the problem is when you get a comedian, they like to just kind of wring them out like a sponge with the same roles over and over and over again instead of giving them the variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows what role she's looking for, except for she did make this one boss with her husband. So I'm guessing, I feel like she has some power in this.
Yeah.
So if this is not good, that is not about being typecast or a studio. That's like you're pushing this direction.
Yeah, and like I said, the fact that Tammy bombed and it was her and him writing and directing it again, like I'm curious how she was able to convince somebody to be like, let us try it again.
I mean, we're already into this section. Upcoming films, The Boss. We've been talking about it now for the past 2 minutes.
Let's just get into it. Upcoming films, The Boss.
Upcoming films, The Boss. Definitely a big question mark.
Yeah.
No score yet on Rotten Tomatoes. But I want to know if she's pushing herself into a different direction or if this is going to be the same comedy we've seen over
I'm going to guess the same.
over again.
The character looks more in line with the role she did in Identity Thief more than any of the other ones I've seen so far. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but the trailer has some funny moments. She plays like this over rich, cutthroat kind of business lady, Martha Stewart when she went to jail kind of deal. And like I think Melissa McCarthy is funny, and every time she's done a movie with Paul Feig, she's been funny. So like I know she can be. It's just like I need to. It's come to the point now where I need it to be a Paul Feig movie for me to even think it's gonna be good. Because she hasn't been good in anything outside of that.
If The Boss is bad,
yeah, she's in trouble.
What does that do to Ghostbusters? Anything?
Doesn't do anything.
Okay. What if it's
I think
really
Ghostbusters
good?
has done enough damage to itself already, to be honest with you. I mean, I know, Steven, you didn't hate the trailer.
No, I hated the trailer. I still don't.
Hated it? Okay.
I still don't. I still refuse to believe that the movie will be terrible. Okay. Like I think that at the very least it'll be passable. But what I really hope is that, you know what, Ghostbusters was so long ago that there's a whole new generation, just like Star Wars. The reason they made Star Wars to be exactly like Episode 4 was because, you know what, let's just accept the fact that a lot of people who go see this movie won't have seen the originals.
That's insane.
I
hear what you're saying. Who hasn't seen Star Wars? Every kid today has seen the first Star Wars.
No, so many people have not seen Star Wars.
It seems like blasphemy, JT.
I disagree with you.
I
guarantee you almost every kid that saw The Force Awakens, their parents sat them down and watched them Star Wars before.
I would wager to guess. I'd put a bet that 50% of them haven't.
I would also agree with that.
Parenting, I don't know what your parents are doing out there, but you're doing it wrong.
There's a lot of parents who haven't seen Star Wars. There's just a lot of people who haven't seen the originals.
Of course there's going to be a lot of people that haven't seen the originals.
And
but
all
you're
of those
talking
people,
about,
they weren't going to, they probably took their kids because it was the thing to do, and everyone had to see The Force Awakens. And afterwards, the kids probably were like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I want to see all the stuff. And then they might have seen the originals.
But depending on age.
I mean, what they're doing smart with these remakes is they're making them similar enough that I hope that through them making this movie similar enough to the old ones, that it will make it good enough.
Okay.
Because like Star Wars, there's a lot of people who don't get any of the pop culture references to any of the Star Wars films, and watching Force Awakens opens the door for you to get all these pop culture references. I hope they'll do the same with Ghostbusters.
So The Boss has no effect, positive or negative, on how Ghostbusters does.
Not really, only because I don't think enough people are going to see The Boss to really affect their opinion.
Okay. Hardcore Henry. This one
interesting
is definitely the interesting one of the week. I told JTE earlier that I think that over 60% of the audience is going to be gamers. I feel like that's who it's completely targeted towards.
I think this movie is going to tank, but I think it's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like I said, it's over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I've heard every person I know that's personally seen it says it's been a fun ride. We had, over at Screen Junkies, we had Shardo Copley in for like a 30-minute interview. He was just raving about the movie and the way they made it. I will be honest, when I first saw a trailer, I said, can I really watch that for 90 minutes?
Yeah, it seems like you'll get sick, right?
Yeah, that's what I was like, I don't know if I could handle that, but this guy really sold it to me. He said, you know what, they did a lot of tests before the movie was made to make sure that didn't happen. And they go, unless you're sitting in the front row of the theater, he said you should be fine.
If the test audiences didn't get nauseous seeing it, then it might do better than I thought.
I mean, that was I think I just like saw this and I've told you it's like Gamer Central. Like normally there's kind of action movies that I look at and I'm like, oh, I could see that being a date movie. This one I don't see people pushing it to be the date movie. I think that if it gets really good reviews, you might pull some more people in. Then if it gets really good reviews, you might not see a horrible drop.
Good word of mouth.
But I do think the initial audience for opening weekend is just straight gamers.
I want a sequel to Crank done in this style.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I could totally see that.
I would see it.
But I don't know how good it's going to do. Again, like I do think just on face value, that whole different angle they're going with is going to turn a lot of people off. But I'm hoping word of mouth goes around. I'm going to see it. I'm hoping it's awesome.
Would you watch this movie in Oculus Rift if you had the chance?
Yes. Hell yes. By the way, I tried Oculus Rift for the first time on Friday over at Schmoes Video Games over at Defy Media. I was blown away by how awesome that. Have you tried it, Steven?
I am like an avid gamer, and I still have never had a chance.
I gotta tell you, man,
so
it's pretty unbelievable. So are both of you
seeing Hardcore Henry?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Without a doubt.
There we go. Also coming out is Demolition, which JT seems to think is a very popular trailer, and I've told him that it's pretty much only in front of indie movies.
Yeah, I just feel like I've seen this trailer at least like 5 times in theaters in the last few months.
It's because you've been seeing indie movies.
I see a lot of indie movies, but it's Jake Gyllenhaal. It's at 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know a few people who saw it at Sundance. They all said it's fine. It's a good movie. They enjoyed it.
I just want to see Demolition Man every time I see it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't call a movie Demolition because I'm immediately going to compare Demolition Man with Stallone.
Yeah.
But
not a very good title.
I loved Nightcrawler, Jake Gyllenhaal's. Not his last one. He did Southpaw last. But he's always excites me as an actor. I always want to see what he's going to do. But this trailer did absolutely nothing for me.
I got to tell you real quick. Side note.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Zodiac, and I watched Zodiac after having watched Nightcrawler, and it was messing with me so bad.
So confused. Those are two not to pair together. Also coming out is Mr. Right.
Yes, Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick and
Tim Roth.
Sam Rockwell. Tim Roth, who is also in Hardcore Henry. Is that what we discovered?
Yeah. He's probably got a small role.
And this is a screenplay by Max Landis.
Oh, Max Landis wrote this?
Yes.
Oh, my buddy. I know Max. Interesting.
Yeah, not a ton of publicity out there for this one, in my opinion. But it does have a top-notch crew involved, I think. Sam Rockwell is one of my favorites. The description is a woman, Anna Kendrick, comes to a crossroads when she finds out that her new beau, Sam Rockwell, a little bit of an age gap there, is a professional assassin who kills the people who hire him instead of the intended targets.
I think it's going to tank.
Interesting. You know, it's funny because, I've met Max Landis a few times. He comes on movie fights every once in a while. He's been on Schmoes. The guy is just, his scripts are selling like hotcakes lately. But they haven't been super successful lately. But you got to remember, as a writer, second that movie sold, it's out of your hands. Victor Frankenstein was the last film of his to come out in theaters, which didn't do very well.
Yeah.
But even though I actually heard from several people that it wasn't that bad as it looked, it was actually kind of entertaining. He just sold a movie that George Clooney apparently is going to star in. That was just announced this week.
Oh, fantastic.
So, and he directed his first film, which I believe is just came out in the film festival, South by Southwest. And I heard mixed things. I hear it's out there. So the good thing I will say, when you're going to see the Max Landis film, you're not going to get the run-of-the-mill movie.
Yeah, he's
like American Ultra wasn't that bad.
I think that's why he sells, because I think he does present things in a very original way over and over again. On top of that, he's pairing that with this movie.
Good cast.
Mr. Right had great cast, $8 million budget.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I think that's probably a hard thing to turn down. Like, oh, we've got a writer who has a name. He can get some good people to sign on. It's going to cost us $8 million, and there's something original about it.
I mean, I love Anna Kendrick. You put her name on anything, and I kind of want to see it.
She's the best.
Also coming out. So those are our 4. Definitely the ones that have a chance of making more money are going to be The Boss and Hardcore Henry, though.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what The Boss does and Hardcore Henry. I honestly don't know where they're going to land. Only thing I'm confident is I'm confident Batman v Superman will still be number 1.
Yes.
And Zootopia could still be number 2, maybe. I don't know.
I'm going to give it. I'm going to say, based on a 17% drop, I'll keep Batman vs Superman, and then Zootopia. Although I will say there was a 3-year-old in my theater.
Oh, whoa!
When I saw Batman vs Superman.
I thought you were going to say Zootopia.
A 3-year-old.
Wow, really?
Not kidding.
That movie is not for kids.
I was shocked.
Was the kid chill? He didn't even know what was going on.
I don't know.
When you're that young, you're watching a movie, you're just like, whatever, I gotta sit down for 2 hours.
But so Zootopia coming in number 2. Do we want to do you want to continue your list for your top 5?
Yeah, I'll just do my top 5. Let's go Batman v Superman, number 1, obviously. I think it's going to pull close to 35 to 40 million. That's my guess.
I think it's going to be a little lower. Or on that low end, yeah.
We'll see. Number 2, this is where it's like, can the boss outdo... You know what? Zootopia is going to fall... If it just falls 15%, it's still going to make like 18. Yeah. 16 million. That's tough. Oh, man. It's going to be neck and neck. Zootopia and the boss, I think, are going to be neck and neck. I'm going to go...
You have to put one in front of the other.
I know. You know what? I'm going to give Melissa McCarthy the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to put the boss number 2.
Oh, how nice of you.
And Zootopia is going to be right behind her at number 3. Then I'll go number 4. I'll go Hardcore Henry.
Okay.
And number 5, unfortunately, I don't think Demolition Man's going to make the top 5.
No.
I'll go My Big Fat Greek Wedding too.
All right, we're pretty much neck and neck. The only thing is I'm switching from yours is Zootopia. I am giving it to Zootopia, not Miss Melissa McCarthy.
Don't let me down, Melissa McCarthy. When was the last time there was a big comedy in theaters? That's the only reason why I'm kind of giving it to the boss.
Well, last time I tried to put a big comedy in theaters.
It's been a while.
I just don't think the marketing's very strong for the boss.
I don't think it is either.
She still has some pull. I think she has enough pull to pull out the number 2.
All right, I'm gonna
go ahead.
I think I'm going with Sarah on this too. I think you got Batman vs Superman, you got Zootopia, then you got the boss, then you got Hardcore Henry, and I'd probably go even as far as to say that we'll probably get God's Not Dead in 5.
Ah, okay. There we go.
I think it'll stay in top 5.
Very interesting.
Wow.
I think Demolition and Mr. Right will probably do around 4 each.
Yeah, I don't know how many theaters Mr.
I don't know
Right's
how
going
many
into.
theaters Mr. Right is
But
in
Demolition
either.
Man, I'm real curious to see how that does. I just don't think honestly, for me...
I love that we're calling it Demolition Man.
Yeah, Demolition Man. Sorry.
Ooh.
I just don't think it's gonna... The trailers, I don't see that bringing people into theater. Like, it's such like a Netflix Redbox rental.
I feel like I'll probably just be seeing it on Showtime in like 2 months.
Gyllenhaal, he's coming off Southpaw, which was not really well received overall.
We will see. We'll talk about it next week. Stephen, do we have any callers coming in?
Yeah, I haven't been checking, but we got 2 minutes, so let me see.
If we have time for a caller, we'll take one now. If not, thank you all for
let's give it a call
joining us.
Finstock should be back next week.
Finstock will be back
and hopefully
next
I'll
week.
be here. I don't think I have anything going on next week.
What is up with the two of you?
I'm joking.
No,
I'll be here.
But also you can find JT at your channel, which is doing great.
On Twitter, @SchmoesJT. I've been doing great on my own little YouTube channel. It's just a variety of like movie topics. I went over to Deleted Scene from Batman v Superman. I did the spoiler review. I have a new show I did called What Happened. I had Scott Mantz on where we basically talk about a movie where we're like, what happened? What happened?
So if you're looking for new shows, they can find you
at JTE Movie Thinks YouTube channel. Yeah. Just subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.
All right, we'll take one caller on the line with Box Office Breakdown.
It's got to be him. Boss?
It's Boss, turn on.
Yes, Boss, I saw you did not like Batman v Superman.
Nah, it was garbage. My sister, I saw it with my sister, and I saw it again with my sister. She fell asleep in the movie. She said the movie is complete.
Oh, no.
She fell asleep? But it's so loud.
Yeah, so she said the movie is boring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I like me, when I saw it the first time, I did clap for Wonder Woman, though, so when she fought Doomsday.
Yep.
There you go.
I clapped, everybody in the theater clapped for that, but the rest of the movie was complete, it was a complete garbage.
I just find it so interesting that you found someone who fell asleep in it because
it
was so loud.
DC, I can't believe they tested this movie up so bad. So they should have just did a Man of Steel too.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of agree with you on that. I really liked Man of Steel. I would have been okay with like one more Man of Steel movie before this one.
Would they have introduced Batman into it?
Maybe at the very end.
Yeah, man, I was so pissed about this, so bad. It's I don't even want to talk about this movie anymore. I'm ready for Captain America to work about next month.
All right. Do you have another question before you go?
Yeah, I think everybody is waiting to see Melissa McCarthy and Ghostbusters instead of the Boss. Mm-hmm. Because the Boss trailer looked horrible. I saw the trailer for the movie. It did not look good. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to see the Ghostbusters in July.
Yeah, I'm real curious. You know, like I said, I think this movie's so slow on the radar. It's not going to affect Ghostbusters too much. The Ghostbusters trailer is what really... It's hit or miss. I mean, for me, the tone for the Ghostbusters trailer just felt so different and off than the original Ghostbusters that That's what has me worried.
After talking to you, after talking to Steven, after hearing from you, boss, like what it seems to be is that they are totally just being kept in separate categories. I would typically put those two together, like how well did the boss does, how that affects Melissa McCarthy's movies. But
all right, bye.
All right, thanks, boss. Later. Got the old play him off music. I love it.
Music coming
boss,
in.
I love how boss need to go. He's like,
but that's normally how it works, you know? A star's in one, it starts affecting their things. This is not, maybe it's because it's such an all-ensemble cast, but we'll see. So,
Twitter.
Numbers. Twitter's at Sarah_Stretton.
Start tweeting more. Get her to start tweeting more, guys.
Oh, look, we have to go.
All right, guys, have a good one.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.